We're going to zoom in on you here.
It's my dad. Shit.
Oh, do you have to talk to him right this second? You want to talk to him on camera?
I don't care.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, I'm right in the middle of being live. What's up?
Be alive. I'm right in the middle of being alive. I'm alive. Sorry.
Why?
God, I feel like that is more of an angle. Is that good?
Okay. So do you still want to do that at 1 o'clock? Okay. I will be there. Okay. I'll be there. Love you. All right. Bye.
Sorry. No, it's good. We always like to do like about a minute or so in just to get the camera adjusted, the lighting. We don't have our lighting director here, so.
You know, where is he?
Where's Val?
Oh, he's with his kids.
How's that coffee? Oh, man, that coffee. That's
coffee.
Gotta
Have it.
stuff.
It's my one addiction I got left. Well, besides cigarettes and food.
And love. I'm addicted to love.
You're so weird, bro. No, bro. No. We ain't like that.
What's up, everybody? I am Johnny Ray.
And I'm Dan Elman.
And this is 5R Recovery. When you begin with remember. I need to stop saying it like that every single time, right? I know, but that's our entrance. And you choose to recover. Oh my gosh. What's the next one? Learn to rejoice.
Rejoice. That's
Learn to rejoice. Then you can become reborn. And
relive of service and gratitude.
Of service and gratitude and helping others. That's what the 5 R's are. Very basic, very simplistic formula. Depends on how much work you put into it, really.
A lot of work.
What do you want to talk about today, Daniel?
I want to talk about making amends.
Okay, so I'm just going to jump off camera and you just take over, bro. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was about to slap you.
So, making amends. If for you fellowship people, 8th and 9th step.
Absolutely. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I wanted to do this with Johnny today was I just had my uncle pass away. And I've made amends to so many people, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the one person that did not forgive me. And went to his grave without forgiving me.
Wow.
So,
brutal.
When I was in treatment, they told me, oh, you got to make amends. It's one of your big steps. But they never told me that the person that you make amends to might tell you to fuck off.
Right. And that's truth. That's real.
Right. And
that's
so
raw. Yeah.
When he did that, I was like, well, what the fuck? Because all the rest of the family, they were cool with it. They were like, yeah, man, you just keep doing what you're doing. We're super proud of you. Da, 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 da. And the stuff that I did to my uncle, or he thinks I did, was from when I was like 15, 16 years old, right?
Right.
And for some reason, losing my uncle was harder than losing anybody.
Do you think it was because there was stuff left unsaid?
Absolutely, I think that's part of it. Yeah.
That makes sense, bro. I mean, that just makes sense, right? There was things that never got fixed. It got left open, right? And that's hard because they don't say that in the steps. Like, let's go over the 8th step, right? We made a list of all the people we had harmed and done wrong, and we became willing to make amends to them all. That's the 8th step, right? The 9th step, we made direct amends wherever possible with those people,
right?
As long as we didn't cause damage or injury to the people or to ourselves, right? That's the 8th and the 9th step. These are very valuable steps in all of the fellowships. Your 8th and 9th step is extremely important. My list during my 8th step was extremely long.
Oh yeah.
It was, I mean, my sponsor was a really good guy and he made me take my part in all of those people. Like, how did you affect them? Now, I'm not saying that some of those people didn't do me wrong, but I can't control the way they feel, the way they act, the way they handle asking for amends.
It wasn't a repercussion because of things you were doing.
Yeah, right. Those are multiple times. Like, not just with some people. Like, okay, for instance, I'll give you a couple. Like girlfriends who I had stolen from their parents. Okay, making a direct amends by going to their parents' house and knocking on the door and being like, "Hey, I stole $3,000 out of your safe upstairs.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, and I'm trying to do the right thing now." A lot of them are like, bounce. And I'm like, okay, well, I did my 9th step. At least I tried. But then others were so, gratitude. They were just like, are you serious? You know what kind of gall it takes to approach somebody?
Dude, it takes some balls.
It takes some cojones, all right? To go up but that's what it's all for, is anybody can write a letter. Anybody can send a text message, but to do a direct amends, the hardest ones for me were my family.
Yep.
You know, my family that stood by me through all those years. I looked at it as damage control, right? Like, how much damage did I cause with the people in my life?
Right.
And some of them I damaged a lot heavier than others, which is why when I was doing my amends, my list looked a lot different for direct family as compared to the girlfriend's parents.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
And so this is the fucked up part about all this. I haven't seen my dad in 2 years. Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's staying here now.
Wow.
And my amends to him, he obviously he was proud of me. Right. Now he's letting me control all of this. Like, he's like, he lives in Oregon. He can't be up here. His health ain't great, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday he was like, I'm going to go back to Oregon and you're going to deal with all the legal stuff for me, which is unheard of. He's giving me the keys to both the houses, all the cars, everything. And my dad would never have done.
Yeah.
Ever.
Truth. How do you feel about that, though? Doesn't it put a lot of responsibility on you? I mean, the pressure and you're going to have houses to clean out and cars to get rid of. And all, it just.
How do I feel about that? I'm a little stressed out.
Yeah.
Let's be real about it. I'm fucking stressed out, right?
Yeah.
But I'm honored.
Of course.
To be able to do my part.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe this is my way of making amends to my uncle now that he's gone.
For sure.
That's how I kind of see it inside. Right?
Do all the right stuff.
Right. And he gets.
Did he have a will?
No.
Oh my God.
So everything has to go through probate.
Yeah. So does he have any family besides you guys?
My dad, my aunt, 2 aunts, and that's it.
Wow. Have you made amends with those people?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, I have. Matter of fact, my Aunt Elaine will be here today sometime. And I haven't seen her in 10 years.
Wow.
So that'll be amazing.
Yeah. And so you're going to do the direct approach. You're going to talk to her.
Absolutely. I'm going to be like, I'm so sorry.
I sucked at everything.
I was such a dick. I still kind of am. But I was way worse then.
Yeah. I was wasted then. That's huge. I feel like there's a couple things that, like, first of all, in my opinion, the 8th and 9th step could have been 1 step. That's just kind of my thing, like making a list of all the people we had harmed and then be willing to make a direct amends with them. That could have been 1 step for me. I don't know why they did it 2, but again, because making the list part's easy. Like, oh my God, I could write out a list. And I know the step working guide is like, it's important to follow and it's got more questions to add to it. But really what it comes down to is I think they left a key part out in the fellowships. And I'm going to talk about it. Okay. The big part they left out in the fellowship is how much time you should have before you start making those direct amends. And the reason I say that is how many direct amends have people made and then relapsed and went back out and did the same thing to people? How do you establish trust with people that you've hurt, right? Say you hurt, right? You thought about that? Like, you go back out, right? You relapse. Say you oh my God, Dad, I'm so sorry. I ruined our house. Remember, I stole that money from your safe and blah, 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 blah. And then you go back out and you do it again. And then now you want to do the steps again and you want to make amends. And he's like, haven't you already done this? Haven't you already come up to me and tried to apologize? Now imagine for the continuous relapsers, the ones who relapse constantly. Yeah. Are they ever going to be able to make truly amends?
Well, they can make them.
They can try.
But do I think that people will believe it? It takes a lot of work, man. Like with my dad, I made amends years ago when I was sober. And then I got high. And I tried to make amends after I first got sober. He wasn't having it. He said, I'll believe it when you show me.
Right. Yeah.
I'll believe it when you show me. It took a couple of years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, don't pray for forgiveness for something you're going to go out and just do again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of how I see it. So if I'm going to make amends to somebody, I need to know in my heart and soul that I'm done.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it takes some clean time.
Oh, a lot of clean time. Yeah. I don't think you should do this in your first 6 months, period.
No, of course
at least
not.
A year in, maybe.
And I know a lot of people who jump into these steps and they're all gung-ho about it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to rush through it. I think that's why the fellowships, it's important that you find a sponsor who says, hey, look, this should not be an easy process. This should be something that you take some serious time, some serious reflection, and really take it just generally seriously. My dad says, Dad is making amends for you or them. I don't know what that means.
He's saying it's Dad is making amends for you or them.
With a question mark.
Both.
Wow.
It's for both of you.
Wow.
How can you move forward if you're holding on to shame and guilt? And how can that person know that you're okay without you apologizing?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
How are you going to go about making a relationship with somebody and not make amends?
Yeah.
It's not going to work
hard.
Man.
Those uncomfortable family reunions where you're always been the black sheep. Yeah, I've been kicked out of Christmases. Yeah, me too. I've been kicked out of Christmases, weddings. I've been kicked out of all sorts of stuff in my active addiction. So being that one that nobody even wants to invite you, right? That's what I was gonna say. They don't even want you to invite you. It's horrible, right? But you've got to show up there and be like, yeah, like I remember my Aunt Cheryl is a wonderful woman, wonderful aunt. And I remember seeing her for like the first time in however many years. And she's a dentist or she's a orthodontist or something.
Whatever, yeah.
And the first thing I showed or talked to her about was my teeth. And I mean, she just grabbed me and was like, look at your mouth. And I'm like, sorry. And she's just like, geez, what happened to your teeth? That was like the first thing, and I'm like, I love you, Aunt. I'm so sorry. And she's like, God, you used to have such nice teeth. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm good to go. Right. Can you let go of my face now? It's kind of but again, they were so open to me being like, hey, I'm sorry. I apologize for these things. And really, I don't want my lasting impression of everybody in my family, of me, to be horrible.
Right. So have you run into anybody that didn't accept your amends yet?
I mean, besides girlfriend's parents, no.
I mean, like family members.
I guess if we're going to be raw and real, are we going to be raw and real?
Always.
Okay.
You have to be. Part of the program.
Okay. So we're going to talk about these people might watch. Some of the people that are the hardest are the ones I did the most damage to. Okay, here we go.
Be real.
Okay.
Make me do it.
Okay. I still feel like I have a disconnect between my grandparents and me. My grandpa Keith and my grandma Sheila. They did absolutely everything for me when I was in active addiction. Like they gave me houses and cars and money and took me places and helped me pay off drug dealers. My grandpa actually met up with a drug dealer with me at a McDonald's to pay them off a large amount of money that I owed them. Right. And he laughed and giggled the whole time. My grandpa's a little bit, but he's an awesome guy. But he was one of these guys that was like, sure, I'll meet up with your drug dealer. No problem. Because they kept trying to kick in my door at my apartment and they were looking for my money. Right. And so I called my grandpa and was like, hey, man, I owe this guy a bunch of money and his sister wants to collect. I don't have the money. I think they're going to kill me. And he was just like, let's go meet up with them. No problem. I'll bring my gun. And so he brought his gun and we went and met somebody at a McDonald's. This is a real life story.
I believe it.
This really actually happened. And so, again, he goes and does this. And then what do? I just go right back to meth and doing the same fucking thing.
Did he know what the debt was for?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. For a drug deal gone wrong, or actually stole a large bag of dope from them while they fell out.
No,
so,
really, Johnny?
Yeah, so they fell out. I took it. I left. I was hoping that they just wouldn't put two and two together, and they did. They found out who it was.
Were you the only person there?
No, I think there was multiple people there, but they were close with the other people, and I was the only stranger.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So anyway, I feel like let's not get into any of that crap. Okay, a little bit of a view into my life. Okay, one thing about my life is that like it's really hard. I still feel uncomfortable around them. And they've made amends. They've said everything's fine. What's in the past is in the past. Let's just and they're so proud of me for what I'm doing. But there's this awkwardness. Like every time we're around, I feel uncomfortable. What?
Guilt.
Could be guilt.
It's guilt, bro.
Not just from my end, though.
I do it with my dad.
I think they feel like hidden hostility towards me.
Of course.
And it sucks because they've
put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah. Oh, I don't blame them at all. But you asked me. You said, is it?
No, really?
They've accepted the amends, but in deep down, I know they haven't.
It's hard, dude.
It's very hard.
Like, I had to make amends to my own wife.
Yeah, that's tough.
That was rough.
That's why I don't get married.
Some of it, she was like, no, don't believe you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some of the shit she said, I'm like, yeah, you're full of shit, bro.
Yeah. Did she make amends to you, though?
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Well, that was one of the first things we did. When we got back from treatment, we had to sit down in a room together and have a discussion. And it was a mutual discussion about how our treatments had to be separate and we got to leave the past in the past. And we got to talk about all that shit.
Yeah.
And forgive each other.
Yeah.
It took a while.
Do you think, I still think, though, the actions speak way louder than the words.
Absolutely. 100%.
Anybody can just say they're sorry, but they got to prove it. And I think that was, my dad's on watching right now. And I think that was one of the things that was difficult was like, my dad's all about action. You know, he's not all about, I mean, I was a compulsive liar. So everybody, there was no reason to trust anything I said. So it had to be through actions. And those actions were implemented by the person that I had to earn their trust back from. You know, it's not the other way around. Like, I shouldn't be able to decide what I have to do to be able to prove to you that I'm better. You should be able to decide on what I have to do in order to prove it to be better. And so with my dad, he set all of these things in place. He was just like, you know, you've got to get a job. You've got to be more structured. You got to be more organized. You got to be more loving. You got to be more trusting. You got to do all of these things. I mean, in the beginning, I used to have to go to meetings. I had to fill out work slips and everything. And it was just, but I did everything. I jumped through every single hoop and I proved it to him. And that's why we have the relationship that we have today. Unfortunately, there's people in my life that I haven't done that with. And that's hard. And that's extremely hard. And that's why I think my grandma and grandpa, there's a part of them that will never, ever trust me.
So, and I know, like, I have a cousin that lives nearby that I've made verbal amends with, but she has a grandson that is disabled. And with COVID, she wouldn't want to come there and do it. So I had to do it over phone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I still want to do it face to face.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's real unless you show them, you know, what you're feeling. Doing it on a phone, it's just words.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by being there in person and making that action and going out of your way to do so, that's when you're showing them that you mean it.
For sure. I mean? And we live in an era now where communication is through a device, right? So it's already more difficult for people to just have communication. You got to think, when the fellowships were created, the internet wasn't around. So when they meant direct amends with face-to-face, that's what they meant. Nowadays, people look at it, and I see so many people cheating on their steps. And then they're like, I worked my steps. And it's like, oh, you did your 9th step? And they're like, oh, yeah, I FaceTimed everybody. Well, shit. If you're FaceTiming everybody and something goes awkward,
right here.
You just hit delete and you don't have to worry. Or like if you just hang up. But I mean, being face to face and feeling those emotions is hard. I've cried over members of my family. In fact, I should announce this now. Next weekend we will not be going live unless you want to do it by yourself. Yep, make that decision now because I have an amends to make in Gig Harbor. My mom's real dad, I haven't seen since I've been clean. The last time I saw him, you ready for this story?
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. So he hired me as a guy to come out and do his lawn work. And all I did for like 4 or 5 straight hours was just pick up pine cones.
You were geeked. You were geeked.
Right.
One at a time?
Yeah. So he comes back. I'm so sorry, Grandpa Gary. I love you. We'll be talking next weekend about this little thing. Anyway, it was one of those things where I didn't do anything. And then at the end, I was like, okay, man, you owe me money. You know, to my grandfather, well, you owe me money. And he's like, what did you do? And I'm like, oh, I redid everything. And it wasn't. All I did was pick up pine cones. And of course, he's just like, Johnny, I don't understand. You look like you're 113 pounds. You brought this chick over there who I've never met, and you were supposed to do my yard, and all you did was pick up pine cones. How do I pay for that? And I'm just like, I don't care how you pay for it. You need to pay me
$1 a pine
so I can
cone.
go get more drugs, right? That's a real story. So next weekend. Next weekend, Grandpa Gary, I will be meeting up with him, with my sister, and the newest member of our family, my sister's son, Paxton. And he hasn't met Paxton yet either. And we're going to go there and I'm going to do my 9th step. So.
Wow. Are you nervous?
Yeah. They're definitely normies. Just the word methamphetamine, they've probably never heard maybe but twice in their life. You know, so when we start talking about meth and what it did to me and how it made me, and
you might be surprised. They might be like, we knew the whole time.
Right? Or they're like, to be honest, Johnny, we need 5R because we're addicts.
Yeah, right. You never know.
No, they're definitely not.
It could happen.
They are the most, you would never, I mean, they are the most level-headed, most calm. They're grandparents to a T. You know, They don't, drugs have never been involved in their life. They just thought it's helping out their grandson. And it was terrible. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going out there. They live in Gig Harbor. My sister's going to pick me up. We're going to drive all the way out there, and I'm going to work a little 9th step for all you fellowship people.
You should do it live.
Oh. You want to jump in?
How do you make amends if somebody's got dementia?
Oh my gosh, please come over here and be on camera with me and ask that question.
I can actually probably help you with that question, but come on over here, have a seat.
That is great. It's the same way like when people need to confess their sins. Like how do they confess their sins when they're incapable of doing so, right? It's
There you
another.
go.
Oh, it's all
Throw
right.
some
We
more
got
in
it. We got it. We're good.
Good to save on my coffee.
Yeah,
bro.
dude. I went coffee and.
Can't be losing the coffee.
Are you guys
Lori.
centered?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Good, Lori.
Go
Ask
ahead
the
and ask
question
that
again.
question again.
How do you make amends to somebody that's got dementia? It doesn't even know who you are.
Okay, so that's like if you want to make amends to somebody that's passed away, I believe. For me,
Good
you live a life of amends, right? I've lost loved ones that did not get to see me sober. So what I do to make amends to those people is stay sober. I live a life of service. I do what I do here. I help Johnny Ray. I help you guys, right? You can still verbally do it, but they probably won't remember.
Right.
But boy, that's a tough one.
Talk
That is
about it,
tough.
Lori. I want to hear it.
When my mom's in Yakima and she's in a dementia home, she'll be 91 this year. And for the last 10 years, she doesn't know who I am. And I've been told to write her a letter and have somebody read it to her. And so I'm still trying
That's
to
an idea.
yeah,
I mean,
or write a letter and burn it after I read it, to myself or to someone else.
that's the tough question.
I think it's important. I don't want to say off camera. I think it's important that God plays a pivotal role in this, right? Because our faith has to go to somewhere, right? And if we believe in heaven and we believe in God and we believe in, like, I love that you live through your actions, Dan. I think that's important. But it's kind of like with prayer. It's kind of like with faith. It's something that
Absolutely.
can't be touched.
Right.
But you live it through your actions and you give it all to God. You pray
He
about
is the
it,
Almighty One that is guiding you through all that.
'cause
He's
that's
the one
gotta-
that's keeping you sober, not
For
just
sure.
you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know for me that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Without God in my recovery, I'm not gonna succeed at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. I know I wouldn't do it. I didn't
Yeah.
have it.
That's really rough, Lori. And honestly,
That is rough.
maybe the letter's a good idea. God praying, like Johnny said, God's got to be involved because He's the only one. Maybe by you getting God involved more, going to church and doing what you need to do, and trying to make those amends, God would be able to put a little bit of ease on her mind. It may not be what you want, but it would be what God wants. You know what I mean?
Right.
But who knows what God wants? I can't answer that.
How are you doing it at your amends, Lori, with other people? Kids.
My kids, they're my oldest one and my middle one. Well, actually, all three of my girls are very, very proud of me and their dad for getting clean sober. I mean, I'm going on 5 months now.
That's
Good job.
That's awesome.
And this time around, it's a whole lot different than the last time. And it makes it so much easier. I mean, 'cause I got the tools and I want to use them. I want to become a peer coach.
That's awesome.
And as soon as I get out of IOP, I want to do some service work, like go to the soup kitchens
Yeah.
and, help serve the homeless and be there for them, and share my strengths and hopes that I've gotten.
Right.
It's like doing this is scary as hell for me right now.
It always is the first
I was
time.
gonna say, I don't think she had any idea what I was gonna say. Hey, just get on camera.
Right,
There you
right.
go. Yeah, you're good, Lori. You're good. If Pat wants to
Come
jump
here,
in
Pat.
there.
You wanna trade out
Are you
with Pat?
okay,
Yeah.
Lori? You okay?
Yeah.
Thank you,
We'll,
one.
we'll slowly work you into it, okay? We're not gonna make you be on camera for too long.
Come here, big guy.
Pat, talk about
Come
you
here, my
making amends.
sponsee. Yeah, you're not to this step yet, but you will be. You will be.
Talk about the diversion center last night,
Take
bro.
up the whole damn couch, bro.
Talk about the
Little fella.
Talk about the
yeah,
diversion
touch
center.
me there some more.
You-
Hey,
Oh, my bad.
Whoa! It got real up in here.
Whoa!
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that was all me, by the way.
It
So,
really
like,
been rated R.
making amends with someone that has Alzheimer's, like, that's been a real hard one because, like, my mom passed away because of Alzheimer's, and they were saying, like, these two were saying, keep amends is, keep sober.
Yeah.
Like, look, I put a clean date on my arm for a reason because, if I ever lose that clean date, Jesse gets to burn off the whole tattoo.
Wow.
We've already, and I mean, like, literally, he gets to, like, brand it if I lose that clean date. That would look,
Pretty horrible.
yeah. Because we're not talking just a clean date. We're talking the whole tattoo gets to brand off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And, like, I don't want that. That's going to hurt like a bitch.
And I'll help him do it.
Like, keeping amends, like with my dad, even, my dad's so proud of me that I've got almost 18 months.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, on the 7th, I'm coming up on 18 months, and like drug court is super proud of me.
Good.
Like, and if it wasn't because of drug court, I don't think I'd have 18 months. Like I've always said, by the time I'm 30, I was getting my shit together, and look, I'm almost 32, and I got almost 18 months.
So it was by the time you were 30 then.
Yeah. 2 months after I turned 30, I got clean.
Nice.
Wow.
So
that's pretty impressive.
I've always said since, I was 12, I'm going to quit smoking weed. I'm going to quit, doing dumb shit. And it finally happened.
So let me ask you a question. You ever made amends to somebody and they denied you?
Yes, I have.
How'd that feel?
I like a kick in the balls.
No, really. That's real.
That was
like
real.
Me and my adopted brother, he'll never forgive me. For things we've said to each other, things we've done to each other. And, all the stuff I've stolen from him, all the shit that he's bad-mouthed and even gone to my DOC officer and, tried to put me in jail over it. Like, there ain't no making amends on that. I've tried to make amends on him, but he won't do it.
Yeah.
He won't answer my calls. He won't block me from Facebook. Literally, I'm the black sheep of the family.
Right. That's so hard, huh? Like, when I ran into my uncle that wouldn't let me make amends. I mean, I got to do my part. I did make the amends, right? But him denying it was like you said, like a kick in the balls, or like he ripped in my fucking chest and tore my fucking heart out, dude. At that moment, I didn't know how to react. I was only a year and a half clean at the time, too. So I was still learning my emotions. But yeah, it sucks, dude. And it's something you got to deal with. There's nothing you can do to change somebody, right? You just got to keep doing what you're doing and show them, hey, I'm not that guy anymore. Right. Oh, thank you.
Morgan says, "Oh my God, Pat. I wonder why." Look, it's live. Look, it's none of this is edited. None of this is prop. This is all like straight coming out of our minds on how we feel our opinions are going.
Talk about your diversion center last night.
Oh,
I heard.
Yeah, it was so good.
I didn't do that bad. Like I stutter a lot. Like,
how'd you feel when you got up there?
Awkward.
Scared?
Yeah, scared. Awkward.
Let's be real.
This is something that
That's weird for you because you are such a outspoken guy, right?
Charismatic, for sure.
Yeah. Like, I've been asked multiple times to go to the Furniture Center when 5 Hour was originally going, when I had almost 6 months, and I've declined.
Yes, you did.
And this time, I said, fuck it, I'll go. Like I think I'm far enough in my recovery, we actually go up there and go talk to a couple, or go up there and speak. And I had a couple people afterwards. After everybody, abandoned me and ran downstairs to talk to all the females.
I believe you, Pat.
I talked to a couple different people. And like a couple of them actually came up and told me, like, look, your story has a lot of impact. Like, look, you've done a lot of things. I've been around. I've been anywhere from Alaska all the way down to California, and like I've done a lot of shit. And I think the more I talk about it, the better I'll feel about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the fatness ain't ever gonna go away.
That's why we call you Fat Pat. We love you just the way you are.
Dang right, bro. And you're killing your recovery. You're killing it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, bro.
Let me ask you a question. How did you feel when you left?
I felt good. I felt like I had to go make money.
Get out of here. Come on, Tony. Get back over here, buddy.
Hey, can you find me a pen? Because I got to get a pen so I can sign Lori's thing. I think this counts as a meeting, right?
Yeah, it does.
For sure.
Yeah,
okay.
You signed mine from last night, too.
So, I can do that, too. Okay, so find me a pen, you guys, while you're...
We'll get it.
Okay, hold that right there. Besides what Pat said, we didn't try to bail on him to go downstairs. It was one of those first times where the girls and the boys were not combined.
No,
and so the girls totally missed the meeting, and I thought it was amazing, and the girls were pissed. They were just like, this is ridiculous. Oh, is that Morgan? Hi, Morgan. Oh, my God, Pat. Yes, is that from her grabbing you?
Yeah.
Him grabbing you?
Which shouldn't surprise her.
He's totally, that's the way it is.
I'm gay.
Hi, Jen.
You're in place for Amy.
Oh, okay, awesome. Come on and sit down. We're talking about making amends.
Possible? Okay, Jen, if that's what you want to be in place of Amy, come on over here. Right? That's my wife. Sorry, guys. So, making amends.
Making amends.
Jen's getting really comfortable on camera. Have you noticed that?
She's just like chill now, man.
She's
Like,
totally.
it's awesome.
You're starting to get more comfortable.
So that one's a hard one for me. As a lot of people know, my oldest daughter overdosed. She was over here visiting me, and my family blames me for it. And sometimes I still blame myself for it. I wasn't talking to most of my family before that, though, so I don't I really don't feel like So I wasn't talking to my family, so I didn't go and steal from my family or, whatever. I mean, my family's just toxic. I do, talk to my kids, my other two kids, but it's still like kind of tense. We just kind of keep it like, light, like, hey, how you doing? Quick check-ins every once in a while, because I don't feel like one in particular wants to admit that my oldest daughter overdosed, and he likes to put it more off on as she committed suicide, because of the stigma. And so I have an issue with that. It's hard for me because, like, on the one hand, it's like and maybe that's the other thing. Like, I don't want to ruin her reputation with my family. So I don't talk to my family. I don't talk to my family about her. I don't tell them what happened that weekend because, I'd rather them, they already think horribly of me anyway. Right. So why not just, it really, I really don't want to talk to them anyway. The rest of my family, aside from my kids. But it's really hard to, bring that up with my kids because, I do still feel guilt, and,
that's a good question right there. I think the hardest person to make amends to is yourself.
Oh, brilliant. Truth.
Right? That's real. It is hard. I'm still struggling with that today.
Yeah. Some days I'm good. And some days I can say, hey, it was an unfortunate accident. And some days, I go back and forth on it.
Right.
I really do. I think it kind of depends on where I'm at, with my step work and, everything affects it really. I've discovered I have to change TV shows that I'm binge watching because if I'm if I'm watching something depressing,
I get it.
If I'm watching something where, people keep on dying, even if they're not overdosing, if they keep on dying, then I notice the rest of me just starts getting into a real funk in my head. And I had to switch to a really kind of brainless,
brainless,
not brainless, but just not real problems type of sitcom because I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be depressed all the time. I don't want to look at life, cynically, and I don't want to, I don't want to be Debbie Downer.
Right.
I don't want to be complaining about everything all the time. And I feel like that's what I do. So, yeah.
Can I say something about that, Jen?
Yes, you
I
may.
want to get that one over here too when we can.
Okay.
Because that's somebody we've had to make amends with.
Oh, for sure. So I love Jen, dude. Like I said, you're getting so comfortable on camera. It's hilarious.
Awesome.
But I think it comes with time. I think we're all a little resentful in the beginning and pessimistic. When I was in active addiction, everything was not my fault. I didn't have any fault. It was God hated me. I used to say that all the time. God, why does God hate me? Gosh, my life is so dang difficult. I never took responsibility for anything, right? So then getting clean, it takes time to start noticing, man, where is my place in all of this? And I know we're trying to make amends, and that's what our topic is. The biggest thing for me is I don't want the last image that people have of me to be when I was in active addiction. So even if they deny making amends with me, I don't want their last vision of Johnny Ray to be a tweaker.
That's a good
So
point.
I will meet up with them wherever, which is why I'm meeting up with my grandpa, which is why I go and see my cousins who I haven't seen in a long time. In June, I'm taking a trip out to Michigan because I have family in Michigan. They haven't even known me in the last 20 years. I mean, they
Right.
all went to
Right.
college and grew up and graduated high school while I was tweaking. And now I'm going to go back there. They all have kids. And I've never even met these kids. And they might not forgive me, but at least the last image they see of me is not me being a tweaker.
I love that.
So
That is so real.
for sure.
Because it is about healing yourself too. It's
Yeah.
not just about them healing from it.
For
Like,
sure.
the damage we did to them, the repercussions of that hurt us.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not physically, but mentally.
Yeah.
Right. And we carry that.
Mhm.
And we carry the guilt and the shame that we did when we were out there. Right.
For sure.
And the only way we're ever going to fully recover and heal from all the shit we did is to make amends.
Yep.
I believe that 100%.
100%. And like you said, with yourself as well. Like, Jen, I love that you touched up on things that like certain songs for me, not just TV shows. Certain
Right.
songs will come on the radio.
Yeah.
And I just start bawling. Like uncontrollable weeping. I'm glad I'm driving down the road, so I'm like the only one in the car. What is this happening? You know?
I can't even bring myself to songs that I listen to in active addiction.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid that, like, I don't want to associate with, you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I remember what it was like, but it's like, it's just like, and I think that like my life would improve a lot if I listen to music.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid of like remembering how good it felt when I listened to music when I was in addiction.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
that it's
Yeah.
gonna make me like want to go and.
But I think that'll also come a time. Come on, Morgan, come talk about amends.
Oh, yeah.
We've gotten everybody in here today. Yay.
Oh, this is good because I'm going to
Good
share
job,
a little
Jen.
something real quick here.
Rock. Yep, bye.
My beautiful daughter,
I'm
Morgan.
ready for-
Okay, bye.
So, Morgan, when I first got back from treatment after you tried committing suicide and all that stuff happened, I called you on the phone. Do you remember that conversation? Do you remember what the first thing out of your mouth was?
No, I don't, because
I
if
do.
I'm being honest, I was on over like 20
Well,
medications,
you were pissed.
so I can't remember.
You told me, what was it? You can fuck off, and we have nothing else to talk about unless you're sober. That was how the conversation started. I remember it like it was yesterday. So I made my amends to you on that phone call. Tried to. You were kind of doped up.
Yeah.
So my question is now, I know for you, and it's like my dad, right? My dad had to see those action steps for him to fully believe that I was going to change, correct? Just like I needed you to go get help so I could see that you were going to be okay. Yours was a little different. But do you believe that me and Mom are making our amends in an action step format towards you by doing what we do today?
Yes.
Why?
Because if I'm being honest, there are still some things that I hold on to, but I'm working on, if that makes sense. So
Right.
like sometimes I'll catch myself, like Mom will say something or do something, and it'll remind me of that, and then I get angry.
Okay. That's fair.
But then when she turns around and does something like this, or goes to the 5R meetings, or starts helping other people, it reminds me of, okay, they're doing what they promised me they were going to do when they came and visited me for the first time.
Right.
After their addiction.
So let me ask you a question. If we did not do it exactly like we promised you, we didn't continue doing this here, and you went to Teen Challenge, if you would have came back and me and Mom weren't running this place, do you feel like everything we told you wouldn't matter? It wouldn't mean shit, basically.
I think that it would have been very, very different. I think I would have had a lot more trust issues coming into it. I feel like it would have been a lot harder for me to believe that you guys were serious, because when we were over in Port Angeles, there were times that you guys told us that you were clean, but you actually weren't.
No, we weren't.
And you,
That's what we
Yeah,
talked
like-
about.
That's real.
Trying to make amends.
Right.
with
you,
relapse,
you would
yeah.
you would promise us, you guys would promise us stuff and try showing us that you were clean, but
It was
know,
short-lived.
it was short-lived and
Right.
you weren't actually clean, so
Right.
if I were to come back and you guys weren't doing anything like this,
It would be hard to
it would
believe
have
that
been
we're clean.
really, really hard for me to believe that you guys were actually clean, because you guys, it would have been similar to what it was before.
So why I asked you those questions was that if you're going to make promises to people to show them that you're making amends, you need to stick by what you're telling them. Don't tell them, hey man, I'll come mow your lawn every day for a week and not even show up, because that's just showing them that you're still in that same mentality you were in before, right? That's something I've had to learn. I don't make any promises I can't keep. Sure. If I tell somebody I'm going to be there, I'm there. If I can't be there because of some grave emergency or something, they're going to know way ahead of time. Right. I try to show up, and I try to show up early. That's important.
So I have a question for you.
Ooh, yeah.
Kid asking me a question. I don't know. What?
How has me doing Teen Challenge and me doing the stuff that I have helped make amends with the hurt that I have put on you through my life?
So here's the funny thing about the hurt you put on us. This is going to get a little real here. I blame myself for that. I don't blame you. I blame not being there and not seeing it, because if I was there and I would have seen shit happening, it would have never happened. That's truth. But by you going to Teen Challenge, it sucked. You were gone. But look who you are today. You're a good mommy. You're doing school. You're doing everything we ask you to do. And I don't think without going to Teen Challenge, you wouldn't have matured enough to do that. I think that you sticking with it, even though you didn't want to fucking stick with it, shows me that you really want to not hurt yourself again. And that's all that matters to me.
It's funny thing that you say about maturity, because a lot of the times I feel like because of my experiences, I feel like people see me as immature.
Naive. There's a difference. There is a difference. You were sheltered. You didn't get to go anywhere. You didn't get to, I took you to dinner when I came out there and you didn't even know how to read a menu. This is real, dude. She didn't know
thing is
how to do it.
When you're there. So I did obviously before I went there. But when you go there, you're not allowed to talk to anyone other than the people that are in the school and the staff that are in the school, unless it's the pastor of the church. Or unless you have special
You're
permission.
100% sheltered.
So you're literally 100% sheltered. And at that point, when they came to visit me, they had taken off our outings, and we would get one outing a week, and they had taken off all our outings. So we were completely stuck in the building all the time. Plus, it was COVID, so then there was the extra stuff, and so we didn't get any socialization. So you lost all social skills, and so that was really hard.
But yeah, I don't think it. I wouldn't say that. I would say it made you more naive to the real world than anything, because you didn't have to go out and live on these streets. You didn't have to do none of that. You got saved before that, which is, I wish everybody could do that.
Yeah.
Because what we had to go through out on the streets, darling, that sticks with you for the rest of your life, no matter what it is. So I thank God every day you're still here, because there was a chance you couldn't have been. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest. It's one of the reasons I still strive so hard to stay clean, because I don't want to ever see you go through that again. That ain't fair to you guys.
I just want to let you know that it wasn't necessarily your guys' fault. What was?
There's nothing you can say, honey, to change that.
I know.
I'm your dad.
I know.
And honestly, it may not have been, right? But if you were still with us instead of where you were, it probably would never happen.
That is true.
That's what I say. I said what I said. So.
I do want to say something about making amends, because I am having to go through that right now. So when I did what I did, so before I left, I was living with my stepmom and my biological dad and my stepsiblings, and they necessarily don't like me. And when I did what I did, it made them not like me even more. And so when I left to Teen Challenge, there was already that trust issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so I worked as hard as I could to make those amends. And it's literally been years. It's been years. And I still haven't made amends with the people that I need to. The only time that my father would treat me nicely was if he came to parent weekends by himself. Because he was putting on this mask in front of my step. Because he's scared. Because she's the only one that has stayed. And so he puts on that mask because he's scared she's going to leave. Because she doesn't like me. And so I've been trying to make those amends. And I literally try all the time. Like, I asked my father didn't say happy birthday to me on my birthday on Saturday and didn't even come see me. And so I messaged him because he said that Tammy was so excited to see me and the baby. But then when I asked if I could come down this weekend to come visit, he said that they weren't going to be home when he told me he was sick, and that's why he couldn't make it to my birthday party. And so I'm having to learn to accept that even if they don't like me, even if they don't trust me, I am doing what I know is right. And I have tried to make that amends. And if they don't accept it, that's not my fault.
100%.
Because that's something that I had a really hard time with. Was accepting, I would keep blaming myself for them not accepting me back. When I can't force them to accept me back after the stuff that I did. But that's their choice, and I have showed them.
That's why the whole topic was amends, is because sometimes we make an amends and people don't accept our
and how can we expect them to?
Exactly. Right. Exactly. After some of the stuff that I did, I was upset at myself for them not accepting me, but that's their choice. And I have tried to show them in multiple different ways that I am different and that I am sorry. But if they don't accept it, that's not my fault. And I can't force them to, you know? And that's something that I've had to accept.
Time.
And work with, yeah.
Time will tell.
Isn't she amazing, people?
She is. Does Amy want to get in on this?
Yes, she does.
Oh, and I want to say that Emery is 1 month today.
Congratulations!
It makes me sad.
You're awesome, Morgan, as always. So yeah, what is our time on? We should probably be.
We still got like 14 minutes.
14 minutes?
Still have a computer to
But
look up.
that takes
Yeah,
like
he's
3
still
minutes.
got some. So the wife's
Look at your dad.
Dad, that is why I believe that making amends is for you. People will forget what you say. People will forget what you do. But people will never forget how you make them feel.
Yes,
Very powerful, Dad.
Wow, Dad.
Maybe write that stuff down.
I hate when people say forgive and forget because you can forgive but never.
You'll never forget.
Truth. My grandfather used to say it, forget it, write it, regret it. Because when people would write it down through a text message or through an email, what it would always happen is it would be logged into this like area where it's never going to go away, right? They would always keep it. So you could just say it and people would be like, not that big of a deal. But when you write it, you regret it because it comes back to haunt you.
Wow.
That was
That's
something
some
like Grandpa.
wisdom right there.
Yeah, the same one that paid off the drug dealer. So thank you, Grandpa, if you're listening.
Oh, the one you're going to go see.
Yeah. Nope. This is a different one. That was a different Grandpa. Anyway, make amends, folks. Work your steps. 8th and 9th step. Very hard, but make direct amends wherever possible.
Absolutely, 100%.
Don't expect people to just forgive you.
Because they don't. Not always.
Thank you guys for listening. And was that Fat Pat James? What a goof topic today. All right. There you go.
I think he meant it.
I know what he meant.
We're working on his spelling. Sorry.
What a goof topic today. All right. I love you guys. Thank you all for tuning in.
What'd you get on that?
There's this.
stuff,
Bye.
Pat?